right, it's another cold day here for Texas. As you guys know, I've been working on the E85 tune on this STI. So I wanted to talk about something that I constantly have to explain, which is fine. Basically, a lot of customers ask me, well, what do I do? What do I need to do when I switch fuels? So we're not switching fuels today, technically. So today we're at 71. That's kind of what we've been at this tank. I'm trying to get to E80 though. So we're gonna go ahead and just put some fuel, some E85 in this. Hopefully we get a better content, and then I'll show you what I tell my customers to look for when they're switching fuels. So one important thing to note is this right here. So just because it says E85 doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to have 85% ethanol content. Here at this particular station it says 70%, but I've actually gotten as low as E60 before, and I've actually, in some stations, I've actually had as high as E90. So that's just something to keep in mind there, folks. All right, so we got a full tank of ethanol. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually resetting the B trip here, so I can actually check the how accurate the mile per gallon counter is on ethanol, because on an access port you can actually play with those corrections. But more importantly, I'm going to move out of these people's way so they can also get ethanol. But on your access port, and you don't have to log this, but on your access port, you really want to get your ethanol final and your ethanol raw. And as you can see that these numbers are different. So what this is showing is essentially real-time ethanol from the sensor directly. And I tell all my customers just to take it easy for the, as you're driving along for the next, 5 or 10 minutes, just normal driving. And so what you really want to look for is you really want to see that your ethanol raw and your ethanol final are going to match. As you can see, like, this is already changing, but this is still not completely done yet. So you really want both of these to match and stay consistent before you're going. I don't really tell my customers to log ethanol raw because I don't think there's a real need to. So basically, like I said, just monitor, make sure that ethanol raw and ethanol final are matching and they're consistent, so they're not constantly changing. And then once that's done, I think at that point, it's safe to say that your fuel tank is fully mixed. All right, so I'm here at the shop. As you can see, I've driven about 3 miles, and here is where our ethanol raw and our ethanol final are. So we're pretty damn close here. So the reason why I say that is that during my drive here, ethanol final was making like large jumps, and now you can see that the jumps are pretty close. So this, I would say, we're probably going to be all right. Driving a little bit more is probably going to be a bit better, but that's pretty damn close. Now, on another note, if you look here at the mile per gallon counter, so the very top is based off of your, if you see up top there, it says average B. That's actually based off of the odometer there of the B trip. Now, the one directly in the center that says average mile per gallon, that's actually on your drive, okay? So if you shut the car off and then you go turn it back on, the average mile per gallon will reset. And then the very far left there is like your overall based on your odometer, like your overall mileage. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the average B there, and we're gonna drive this fuel tank out until the gas light comes on, and we'll top it back off. And then we're gonna do the math to see how many gallons we put in versus how many miles we've driven on the tank B. And then that's going to give me a fudge factor. So let's just say that, I do the math and then our actual mile per gallon counter ends up being 13. I can look at the B trip versus our actual and then adjust it in the access port to get it spot on. So the reason why that's important is that because the fuel correction or the mile per gallon counter will change based off of your ethanol content correction. So you can actually have accurate mile per gallon per fuel and then a mix in between. Now, I will say this though, for all you guys that do own Subarus, you guys already know that the mile per gallon counter is like already extremely positive, if you will. My Forester consistently reads 2 miles per gallon higher than what I actually work out. So, it is a little optimistic. But at least with the access port, we can tune it. And is it required? Does your tuner have to do this? No, but I'm already driving this car long term just to get a really good flex fuel tune in for this car. So, you know, it's one little extra thing that doesn't take too long. And as you can see, it already dropped only because of the fact that I've been idling here while making this little short video. But just wanted to give you guys a little bit more insight on what to look for and what tuners do. But yeah, so that wraps this one up.